Right, hello. I've just got a little message for the younger generation, and what that is I just want to, from my standpoint, as I'm around 23 right now, and say if I was looking back at my 14, 16-year-old self when I was in high school, for a little example, what I was doing, I used to play a lot of video games. I used to watch sexy ladies on my phone all the time. I used to go out with my mates and get blackout drunk in the forest and dance around fires. Now, I'm not dissing dancing around fires. That's fun. Just chuck the alcohol away, all right? But, you know, that's what I was doing. I just want to give a little bit of, you know, my message to a younger generation, and that is just to come outside. You know, I'm not trying to shame you from saying, oh, you're on your phone all the time. No, right? I'm not saying anything like that. I'm not trying to be some snarky little parent going, oh, you need to do something with your life, you're just sat there doing nothing. That's not going to help you, all right? I understand that simply trying to kick a child out of the house to say, oh, you're not being productive, or I don't think you're doing something right, is the greatest way to raise a child, because that is the absolute opposite way you're supposed to raise a child. You're supposed to love them, not kick them out of the house because they simply are themselves, right? Now, why I'm saying come outside is because you know, it's not I'm not trying to bribe you into doing this. I'm literally saying that I believe that the younger generation, the younger generation, or anyone who's watching this video, can benefit greatly from coming into nature, just being with the trees, being in a forest, just walking down a woodland, and just maybe leave this at home. If you need to take it with you, just, you know, get a little bag or stick it in your pocket, leave it there, all right? If you need to use it, go ahead. But that's what I'm just saying, and I'm not saying anything about the phones. I'm just saying come outside. And why I'm saying come outside, because when you do so, I could get sciencey on this kind of stuff, but let's just call them chemicals. There's chemicals in your brain that then go around your body that will de-stress you. So if you're depressed, say you sit in your bed all the time and you're not really doing anything, and you know, you're just like, oh, is this it? Just come outside. You don't need to do anything. You don't need to work. You don't need to be hard. You don't need to prove yourself. Just come outside. Why am I saying this? Because, like I said, I know that when I was 14, 16 years old, that kind of age range, I was like super anxious, super stressed, a little bit depressed. But there was deeper things what I need to figure out in myself about that kind of stuff. But what gave me the space to help me along with all that kind of stuff was coming out into the woodland. Now, I know that some people may have parents when you're 14 to 16 years old, or that around that age group. You might have parents that may say, no, you sit there in the house because I want control over you. If you've got that kind of parent in your house, give them a slap for me. If you do have parents like that, I don't know what to say, because obviously I don't know how parents will react to a individual at a certain age, be it 14, 16. I don't know how a parent would take that if they are a certain way, whether they have narcissistic traits or anything like that. Because I know that certain parents will simply just slap the child, or mentally slap the child, to belittle them and bring them down and say, no, you sit there in your position because that's where I think you should be. If you are in that type of position, I would start learning meditation, because that's the best you can do. You can start being aware of more things of what are going on around you, what's going on in your head, what's going on in your body, what's, you know, what is. So yeah, and that's just another little thing what I'd like to bring to the younger generation, because if I had known that back in the day, I believe that my life, now I don't mean to use the word better, because better could mean a lot of things, because I know that there's a certain type of self-improvement YouTubers on this platform, and some of them I don't really agree with them, because they see the word better as, oh, you've got to be lifting weights 24/7, you've got to be working 24/7, you've got to be this super hard, all that kind of stuff. It's like, oh, it's it's like, I get the principle, right? I get the principle what you're trying to get at, but that's shaming little men into conformity that they need to be something. You define your own life. I'm just spitting bars out here, man. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm just spitting bars out here. I'm not going, if you can't do 20 push-ups right now, you're a fat bastard. I'm not going, if you can't work for 2 hours straight, you're a fat bastard. I'm not saying anything like that, because this is what these people do. Anyways, aside the point, what I believe meditation and coming into nature can do for the younger generation, or anyone, I do believe it can help the younger generation a hell of a lot, because it can let you see what you're doing. It can make you understand and take better choices, because I just want to bring it back to an example of myself. When I first came into high school, and certain energies started working around my body, and when I met this certain girl, I was like, whoa, she's amazing. And then I just non-stop thought about her all the time. Why was that? No one ever taught me about this shit. No one ever taught me about love. No one ever taught me about attraction, sexual attraction, anything like that. I had principles of it, but what I've got to say here is my principles were skewed from when I was in year 7 all the way through high school. And all the way through high school, I never really talked to that girl, because I was, all right, this is going deeper into other kind of things, but what I want to say is, if I had just by myself come to nature, learnt meditation, just sat there with myself, put my phone away, put everything away for a second, and just sat there with myself and just went, what am I feeling? What am I thinking? You know, that kind of stuff, and just reflected and just meditated and just calmed myself down using my breath. I reckon that if I had used that, I probably would have been with that girlfriend throughout that high school. Maybe I wasn't. Maybe I wouldn't have been. Maybe if I'd come to myself and gone, yeah, I want to move upon this girl in the way that I've now understood, maybe she would have said, nah, piss off, I don't like you. That's okay, because now, as I've meditated, come to nature and just settled with myself, I now just go, okay, that's fine. I love you, but I ain't gonna, you know, just move on, right? Maybe my life would have been different, and that's what I'm trying to say to the younger generation. That's what I'm trying to say to you, whoever you are, however old you are, whoever you are. I believe that coming to nature and meditating and just you know, going, what am I thinking, what am I feeling, how is this affecting what I'm doing in my life, etc., etc. I believe that can really help the younger generation in, well, any life term, should I say. You know, whether that's where you're going to go with your life, what you're going to do, what you're going to do here, you know? Because sometimes people just go, here's your piece of paper, fill that in, you're dead. What if I want to get my own blank piece of paper and do my own drawing on it and not listen to what anyone else has got to say? Because I believe this is what meditation and coming to nature and seeing the novelty, seeing the essence of what is out here in nature, or in here in nature, I would have definitely changed my life way back, and I probably wouldn't be in this position right now. But I'm grateful for where I am right now, etc., etc. So that's just a message I wanted to bring. So I just wanted to give you a little opinion to make you think about what you can do with your life, what can help you. Because sure, you can sit at home, watch your television and go to sleep, wake up the next day, go to school, go to work and do the same thing. But maybe if you've got something that you want to sort out in your life, maybe you've got an addiction, maybe you've got a attachment to a certain habit, again that's coming into the word of addiction, but just that kind of stuff. You know, say you want to be aware, be more aware of what you're putting into your body, what you're eating, all that kind of stuff. Maybe you want to be aware of what you're actually doing with your own life, because your life is in that 24 hours and then it starts again. It's wake up and then it's go to sleep. What's in that little however many hours you're awake in your day to repeat in the cycle of life? What are you doing? How are you creating your own life in that? That's all it is.